What advice do you want to give Mowgli? Eat more? Sleep more? Bite more? Ow! That hurts. Peak healing phase. If you've ever looked at someone running at 120 heart rate, especially in the heat, and thought, what are you made of? Because you can go out for a run and your heart rate is already high, even when you're running slow. And in the heat, it just feels impossible to control. So you start thinking, what am I missing? Is my heart rate supposed to be that low? Am I just not fit enough? And I can tell you this right away. Every single runner I've coached has had this thought too. And I had it too. I only really understood this after diving into how Norwegian endurance athletes train, learning the physiology behind it, and honestly, through 7 years of experimenting on myself and coaching over 100 runners. And this video is not about having a low heart rate, because heart rate itself is individual. It depends on genetics and age, but how fast you can run at a given heart rate, that is what reflects your fitness. So in this video, I'm going to show you why your heart rate spikes in the heat, why it feels impossible to control, and exactly what to change so you can run through summer without ruining your training. And at the end, I'll give you one thing that I do on every hot run that makes a huge difference. So let's start with what actually drives this, because this isn't really about the heat yet. This is not something you fix in one run. This is a system, because your heart rate is not just responding to the run, it's responding to your entire training load. So your fatigue, your recovery, your stress, your fitness, and this is where most runners misunderstand. They look at their heart rate on one run in isolation instead of controlling the system that drives it. And this is exactly what I got wrong for years. I thought my strength was pushing harder. I went from running my first marathon in 3 hours and 5 minutes to training almost every day, adding more volume. I thought, why can't I just run more and harder if I have the discipline? And for the first 8 months, it worked. But then my fitness became a roller coaster because I wasn't controlling the load. I was just chasing it. Now add heat on top of that and everything gets amplified, because now your body has 2 jobs: run and cool you down. So your heart has to work harder even at the same effort. And that's why your heart rate spikes, not because you're unfit, but because the demand is higher. And this is where things go wrong, because you look at your pace and think, this isn't even fast, but your body doesn't care about pace. It literally only cares about stress. So when you try to hold your normal pace in the heat, you're increasing stress without realizing it. And this is also why I don't like telling runners, just run slower, because that's incomplete advice. The real question is, are you running at an effort your body can actually absorb? And with absorb, I mean recover from. So you're actually getting fitter. So what do you actually do? This is how I approach it as a coach. I would literally sit down with a pen and paper, and I would do this right now so you actually do it. And I would ask, how many days per week can I actually be consistent with? Not ideal, not perfect, but realistic. Then I look at duration in time, not distance, because time reflects the actual load, and especially when your fitness changes, or in conditions like the heat. And then you build your system from there. Then, based on your structure, you assign effort levels, and this is where heart rate becomes useful, because it reflects what your body is doing, not just pace. And especially in the heat, you have to let go of pace. This was the biggest shift for me. I went all in on chasing pace and volume, and I kept getting injured. And if you are new to my depressing story, I had stress fractures every 6 months starting in 2020, and I had a total of 6. And it really wasn't until I switched to this method, which is heart rate and time-based training, and adjusting how my body responded, that things finally became sustainable. What I do when I coach runners who are training in the heat is that I just account for the fact that I know their heart rate is going to be higher. And then what you have to do is you have to give yourself extra recovery. By the way, I don't know if you guys recognize that I'm in a different environment, and that is because I am back home in also Norway, where I grew up for the summer, and it's surprisingly warm here, like 30 degrees. When does that happen? So subscribe to my channel if you want to check out more of my upcoming running vlog weeks here. Is this the size of the pineapple in Norway? It's crazy how much bigger everything is in the US.
Det her.
And just remember to not compare your paces to when it's cooler out, because it's crazy how much slower you run in the heat. Another thing, if you're really struggling, is probably pretty obvious, but running downhill or slightly downhill, definitely not going for a hilly area. Then you're pretty much screwed. And I've now taken minutes off my performance at a lower heart rate. And if you're curious about this way of training, comment heart rate and I'll send you my free heart rate guide. That's where I explain how to actually use heart rate in your training in a simple way. And I also have running plans that are built around this exact approach, using time and heart rate targets so everything adjusts to you and your level. And I'll link those below. And drumroll, I've also made female-specific programs. So they're not necessary, but if you have bigger hormonal variations through your cycle or during perimenopause, they can actually help you understand your body better. And I've also made a full playlist on the female athlete, so I'll link that here as well if that's something you're interested in. And then something I've been getting a lot of requests for was workouts that aren't tied to a specific race distance. So I created a workout library as well. So with this, you can adjust the sessions based on how much time you have and where you are in your training. Now, let's talk about some mistakes I see all the time. Trying to hold pace anyway, stacking fatigue, running in peak sun, misunderstanding how much stress you're actually under, and one big one, thinking treadmill running doesn't count. One thing I do on almost every hot run is that I use the treadmill. If I'm fatigued, if I want control, if I can't get my heart rate low enough, I just get on the treadmill. Yes, it's not as fun, but I think of it as training the mind and controlling the environment. Even Jacob Ingebrigtsen uses it all the time. So if you take one thing from this video, it is stop fixating on your heart rate in one specific run, start controlling the system that drives it. Basically, what that means is that if one run is at a higher heart rate, that's not a big problem as long as you're accounting for that in your total training. So you know that that means it's more stress and you then have to do less or give yourself more time to recover. And I'd love to know what's the hardest part about running in the heat for you right now. And if you want to see what this actually looks like in practice, check out this full week of training right here, where I show you exactly how I structure my running, using heart rate and time, of course. And subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you next Friday.